everybody, it's Stewart A. Swerdlow.
And Janet Diane Swerdlow.
And this is the Expansions News Podcast for the second week of April 2014. And isn't it really nice that we have had finally some spring weather, except, you know what? It's going to snow tomorrow again.
More snow.
More snow, more freezing. Well, what else is new?
In Michigan.
In Michigan. Well, maybe I can get my snow walls back.
I don't think we're going to get that much snow.
No? All right. Maybe we can make believe and have, virtual snow walls.
You could bundle up and just walk around in your snow clothes outside.
Or no clothes outside.
Or no clothes under
Oh,
your
there
snow
I
clothes.
go again.
That's
There
right.
I go again. But look, you have your poop stories, I have my nude stories. So I remember that one time I said it was a nude podcast.
Yes.
One day it will be.
Well, only if that you're going to be showing them your rainbow poop.
I'm going to show my rainbow something, but not the poop. Anyway, back to serious news, since you distracted me. Same story for the last how many days, I don't know, but now we have more information on that Malaysian Airlines Flight 370. Of course, this is what I find very interesting. When it first happened, they said, well, the black box, if it's fully charged, will send a signal for 30 days before it dies. And then what did we have? 30 days came and went. Then after 30 days, then they find signals all over the place. Some of them hundreds of kilometers away from each other. And then they narrowed it down to an area that they said was the size of Vermont, which Vermont is a small state, but if you're looking at every square little centimeter, then it can be quite an ordeal. But then they said, oh, well, the black box might send signal for 40 days.
But let's back up. Even the fact they say if it's fully charged. Don't tell me they're going to send off an airplane like that without its black box being fully charged and every operating system at maximal operating.
The whole thing is bizarre.
It's bizarre.
And so now the pings have stopped. And of course, what did they say? It's in the deepest part of the Indian Ocean, almost 15,000 feet or over 4,500 meters deep. So of course, then nobody could ever find it. And then they said it's in such deep water that any wreckage or whatever is left would be crushed by the weight of the water. Even submarines that try to go down there would be crushed. So how could the black box survive that depth and send out?
And how could they get the pings?
The whole thing is absolutely bizarre. And of course, now they say, well, we might never find it.
Well, you know what? Even down in that area of the Indian Ocean, isn't that where they sent the James Carmen with those little submarine down to explore?
Oh, I don't know about there,
crevices?
but it's not far from where they sent the nuclear charges for the Indian Ocean, Indonesian earthquake back in 2004. I mean, this is further south than there, but of course, now I got a story this morning which comes from beforeitsnews.com, which we're not so sure that.
I don't particularly care for that site.
Yeah, sometimes they tell truth, sometimes not.
Mostly not.
But I just have to say, according to them, their sources said that the base at Diego Garcia destroyed all of their flight, landing, and takeoff documents for March. And that when the British took over there, they sent the 4,000 islanders packing with all their possessions to 1,000 kilometers away where they're living in poverty, and that they have leased their territory to the United States, where they bring many of the so-called Al-Qaeda terrorists for interrogation and who knows what else. So as the story unfolds, and it's getting less and less and less, so it's very possible they will never say what really happened, even though someday we'll know. Now, the other big story that's been on the news, at least here in the United States, is that rancher in Nevada, who, it's about 80 miles north of Las Vegas, his name is Cliven Bundy, or Cleven Bundy, I don't know how to pronounce that. His ranch was surrounded by nearly 1,000 federal agents, all armed in SUVs and helicopters, and they say that this rancher has refused for 2 decades to pay fees to graze his cattle on federal lands. This man Bundy's son was shot with a stun gun. His sister was pushed to the ground, all caught on video. The Bureau of Land Management shut off access to the federal land for his cattle and actually started confiscating his cattle until the Utah militia arrived, and militias from Texas, New Hampshire, Florida, all have arrived there. It involves an area of 600,000 acres, which is under the Bureau of Land Management control, called Gold Butte, or maybe it's a Gold Butte. That is what you would say, right? Which is near the Utah border. And guess what lives there? It's a protected area for the habitat of desert tortoise. I didn't know there were desert. You lived in the desert.
I didn't know there were desert tortoises.
And you lived in that. You never saw,
not where I live,
a killer tortoise.
I did not.
That could attack your cows or something.
Badgers.
But anyway, Mr. Bundy stopped paying fees for grazing on this 5 years before 1998, because that's when the land was considered to be off limits for the cattle. So he stopped paying, but he says he's a descendant of Mormons, and because they have been on that land and that spot for 140 years, that legally entitles him to graze his cattle there. Now, there's been many news reports of all these people coming to the area to defend him. Apparently got the feds a bit nervous, and apparently yesterday they left and released his cattle.
Now, I have a question for you. Did you read how many cattle he actually has?
There were a lot, but you know what? I don't, maybe it's on here somewhere.
Well, I was curious because I was reading that they said they had rounded up about 300 cattle, and that was about half, which would be 600. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, 600 cattle, if that's what it is, over 600,000 acres, that's a lot of land. They're not going to damage any habitat for the tortoises.
But you know what the heck is growing in the desert that cows could eat?
Oh, there's a lot growing in the desert.
It's just cactus and...
That's why people don't, this is why people don't understand when they say, oh, you're going to help save the environment by not eating meat. You know, that's crazy. As you know, I have farming background for many years.
Yeah.
And the
You're
desert,
personally associated with cows.
I did. I know a lot about them, and I know that they do, for example, this kind of land that they're grazing on, they're not going to use it for any other kind of food production. There's not the water.
But what's growing there that could eat?
There's prairie grasses, high desert grasses. I'm not sure about this specific area, but yeah, this is the kind of area that they graze cattle in. They don't put them in cropland. So people are just nuts to believe the propaganda that's going on out there about animals and how it's nuts. I don't even want to hardly go there because it is nuts. But my point being is, okay, there are desert turtles or tortoises out there. First of all, how many could there be?
I don't know.
And apparently they've survived with his cattle, you know, for the last, at least 40 decades?
140 years his family has been
Okay,
there.
so that's 14 decades out there. So it's some kind of test that they're doing to see how people will react. Because the other thing was
That's what I was going to say.
yeah, that people now they're gone, right? Isn't that the latest thing?
Well, the feds have left, and they said they're going to pursue legal action. And here's what's interesting: the agents said they were dispatched in response to statements that the rancher made, which they perceived as threats. And the National Park Service said, when threats are made that could jeopardize the safety of the American people, the contractors and our personnel, we have the responsibility to provide law enforcement to account for their safety. Well, hello, they only went there to attack the rancher. How many people live there? Like zero.
Well, right, and that's the thing, 600,000 acres. You know, let this guy graze his cattle. I mean, he's not doing any damage. You know, I lived in that kind of country. I know what's out there, and it's not going to hurt anything.
So we'll see what happens now that they have left, and they're going to pursue legal action.
Supposedly, but it's some kind of a test. I mean,
I think it was a test to see how people will react. And the militia, you know, I have some issues with the militia because all these state militias, because I think some of them are government set up anyway.
Of course, but you know, the other thing I was thinking is, okay, if they want to start a civil war here in the U.S., what a better thing to do is to antagonize people who are already out in the country, who most farmers and ranchers have guns because they need that not only for self-protection out there, but to protect their property against predators and so forth.
Right, and aliens.
And aliens, whatever. But so they're going to antagonize these people who are used to having their fundamental rights out there as American citizens. And so they're going to challenge these people, and these are the people they're going to infuriate. So if they want to have a civil war without damaging a lot of civilization, what better place to have it, or at least to start it?
But do you remember, I don't know, it was a year or so ago, we got information that said from a military...
Yes, I remember that.
Military person who
Yes.
said that the plan was in 2016, I think, was it 2015 or 16, that they were going to start a civil war with an incident at a federal court or civil court in South Carolina.
Well, who knows how the plan can be changed. But this is still, again, like you said, where are we? We're in Nevada. We had militias coming from as far away as New Hampshire. So it means people are going to travel, whether they're government set up or not, but for the news purposes, it's going to make it seem like there's a big brouhaha out here. And people will flock there, and there will be bloodshed, just like at Waco and all those other places.
So is this the American Spring? Like there was an Arab Spring and the Civil War in Syria. So is this our version?
It could be. They are, in my mind, they're definitely testing something. I'm the trend picker upper here. And they're testing something, they're setting something up, and the fact that they backed off, it's not because of these reasons, it's because, okay, we pushed so far, now we're going to go to the next step.
In news close to Nevada, remember last time I talked to you about the Yellowstone volcano and the earthquake? Well, now it's been reported that a slow-moving landslide the size of 2 football fields is bearing down on Jackson, Wyoming, which is just outside of the Yellowstone volcano. It's already tearing apart a house on a hilltop and prompted the evacuation of over 50 people and businesses in the very famous skiing town of Jackson. We were there in Jackson. It's a very quaint little snooty, snobby town.
It's a nice town.
Don't be politically correct.
It was a nice town. We enjoyed ourselves. It was very nice.
Yeah, we did. Anyway, there's a 100-foot deep landslide that's moving very slowly, and local officials have been checking into the cracks that are emerging and growing by inches every day. They said they're doing tests 100 feet under the ground to determine how big of a threat the slide is. Well, if it's the size of 2 football fields, I'd say, I think it's a bit dangerous.
I'd say I'd be moving quickly.
It started March 4th, just before those earthquakes started, and it made them have to move a water pump house, and it broke a 16-inch water main that flooded a 2-lane highway. So you know what? If I lived in Jackson Hole, then the hole. There's a poop story right there.
Well, it's a sinkhole.
Yeah.
Could be Jackson sinkhole soon if they're not out of there with the 16.
Get the heck out. And then keep in mind, those moderate earthquakes that they've had there, the elk are now leaving, as well as the buffalo, landslides. Well, how much more warning you want to get? The government's not going to say get out. If I lived there, in fact, if I lived within a 400-mile radius of Jackson, Wyoming, and Yellowstone, I'd get the heck out today. Okay. Was I tough enough? It was a rant. It was a rant. But guess what?
What?
Remember we spoke about, I don't know how many weeks or even months ago, about that papyrus fragment that was found that said Jesus was married.
They always bring these stories out just before Easter.
Well, and so that movie, Noah, is out, and all these religious movies they're calling 2014 the year of the Jesus movies, or Bible movies. Anyway, of course, when it came out and it said that Jesus was married, the Vatican quickly said it was a forgery. However, it's now been verified as legitimate. And it was announced by Harvard University. Now, they always tell the truth, don't they?
Of course.
Yeah. It was dubbed the Gospel of Jesus' Wife document, written in Coptic, which is the language of the ancient Egyptian Christians, who were the very really first ones. They said the handwriting and grammar were also examined over the last year and a half to confirm its authenticity. So it meant to highlight early Christians may believe that Jesus was married, which I wrote about in my book.
True World History, Humanity's Saga. If you haven't got your copy yet, you need to do that.
Yeah.
This tells you the true story of Emmanuel.
Now, not all of the lines on the papyrus fragment are legible, but the ones that are say, quote, Jesus said to them, my wife. then he said, she will be able to be my disciple, which is what we said Mary Magdalene was. And then he said, Mary is worthy of it. And then he said, I dwell with her, and then the rest of it was kind of broken up. The fragment owner is now identified as a German person who bought the piece in 1999 from a collector who had owned it since the 1960s. I kind of mixed up my papers here, didn't I?
But anyway, I just think that's fascinating, especially on the heels of Easter and the fact that you're going to Japan. And now I understand that the tour to the tomb of Jesus' grandson will now be open to...
Yeah, but now it was interesting because now they said there's a tomb. I thought it was just a shrine, but it's actually a tomb.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So anyway, it'll be interesting to see what you learn there, because I understand you're going to be speaking to people who claim to be the descendants.
And they have artifacts that prove it.
Yes. So it'll be a fascinating tour.
It will be a fascinating tour. What if I ascend?
Well, they'll send me a note or something.
What if I'm anointed as a new disciple or something?
They'll send me a note.
Oh, well, I'll try to.
I'll have to...
there's no email
I'll
in
have
heaven.
to find
There's no email in heaven.
I'll have to find somebody else to handle, because I'm your handler.
Handle what?
I'm not going to tell you.
Well, guess what? It's your turn.
It's my turn? Okay, well, I've got a few things here, kind of following on the heels of yours, but I'll start with
Don't touch my heels.
I'm not touching your heels. Not till you have socks on. All right, first of all, there's a lot of talk out there going around the internet about a light that is being seen on Mars. Now, NASA's Mars Curiosity rover continues to find very odd things on Mars. So our focus is there, which probably means they're doing something else somewhere else.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, let's think about this. So what is that light on Mars?
Yeah, what is that?
They're saying it's not a glare from the sun, nor is it an artifact of the photo process. So they're trying to figure out what that is. Maybe it's a glint from a rock.
Well, that's what they say. It was a reflection or something like that.
Could be reflecting the sun.
Yeah, right.
But anyway, they said that the days that the images were taken, the sun was in the same direction as the bright spot. So it could be a technical error, and they're looking into it.
Yeah, I'm sure they are.
So,
They're looking into a cover story.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, they probably have one because none of them are very creative.
Yeah.
Now then, the next thing they're seeing on Mars is a heart-shaped crater on the surface.
You know, I had that made for Valentine's Day for you.
That was kind. Now, the next time they'll put my name in it so they can see
That's
it.
next year.
Okay, thank you. So they're claiming, yes, that feature does look like a heart, so they're going to be looking into that. So every time we turn around...
But of course, it's a natural phenomenon. It's the wind did that.
I'm sure. And every time we turn around, there's something different on Mars. So, like I said...
Remember a few months ago, they saw that little rodent?
Yes.
And they thought that was something else
right.
also?
Yeah, that's what I said. They keep bringing up things. So they're focusing you there, which means something else is going on somewhere else, but you kind of have to pay attention to everything because...
But you know what I think?
What?
I think it's also done on purpose, because if there was really nothing to it, it wouldn't even be on the news. I think they're doing it on purpose to get ready for the staged alien invasion.
Possible, to get people ideas, lights, man-made, or human, or what should I say, intelligent being structures, those kind of things.
Well, if it's intelligent, humans didn't make
Well, that's why I said intelligent. I changed that right away. All right, then we also are hearing about scientists in the U.S., Mexico, and Switzerland who are growing reproductive organs. And what did I tell you a long time ago? Artificial womb, I've been talking about that for a long time.
They're growing something else.
And nasal cartilage in labs. They've successfully implanted these in patients. And it says it's not the first time scientists have engineered body parts. In effect, they're creating organs where before there were none. What is different, they're saying, is in these cases the size and the complexity of the organs. So they're using tissue engineering, that's what they're calling it, to focus on repair. And that's what they're telling you, of course. A burned skin, the muscle shorn off during an accident, or a dysfunctional bladder. It says recent advances go beyond repair to replacement.
But see the article I saw? It said scientists recreate vagina material.
Well, that's reproductive organs.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
they
that's
specifically used that word, which I guess was a trigger.
Well, the V, they're calling it the V word now. Vagina is out there all over the place, as is the word penis. So that all of that's
Such
going
vulgarity.
on.
Sorry,
on out there.
people. I don't know what to do with it.
Well, I'll tell you later in private.
Oh.
Okay. Now this they're saying also might sound far-fetched, but to us, of course, it's not, or to you at this point. It says scientists are attempting to build a human heart with a 3D printer. The goal is to create a new heart for a patient with their own cells that could then be transplanted. So they're already saying that now this I hadn't heard, maybe you have, they've already used 3D printers to make splints, valves, and even a human ear.
Really?
That's what I
You
hadn't
should get
heard that
that
before.
printing
Oh,
paper.
also
You could
small
get some new
veins.
parts.
Says they printed small veins and they can construct some other parts with other methods. Of course, they don't tell us what that
You know,
is.
I'm waiting till you can print vodka. Then
Wouldn't surprise me.
I would
It's
be
gonna
printing
happen.
all day long.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
They said now that they can assemble an entire heart, they believe, in the next 3 to 5 years, and the finished product would be called a biofficial heart, which is a blend of natural and artificial, which to me sounds like the Borg.
Well, it is.
So here we go. Now, speaking of evolution, they're now telling us that the last natural blondes will die out within 200 years. Now, you need to know this.
Why?
You need to know this because, as we know, blonde-haired, red-haired people are the easiest to control. So, in my opinion, those who are left are going to be elevated back to priest and priestess stage.
I'll get my hair dye ready.
So they said that by 2202, that blonde-haired people will be extinct. And guess where the last naturally blonde people will be born, they're telling us.
Like, I'm sure LA.
No, like Finland. It says Finland.
Finland?
Finland.
But that'll be part of the Soviet Union.
Oh, it kind of is. The country with the highest proportion of blondes. It says the problem is that blonde hair is caused by a recessive gene. So in order for a child to have blonde hair, it must have the gene on both sides of the family in the grandparents' generation. That's what they're telling us.
I was born blonde.
I know you were, and then you
So
changed.
were some of my children.
Yeah, my mother was born blonde, and then her hair eventually went black. Now here's another thing about humanity. It says the human species may split in two.
Ooh.
In the next 100,000 years. I always give these time frames that you can't identify with, but
Yeah.
if they're telling you that, then they just kind of bring it down. You know, oh yeah, next year, it's going to happen. Anyway, it says that they're expecting a genetic upper class, and listen to this, a dim-witted underclass.
Hello, it's already out there.
And this is what I've been telling you about education. In fact, a lot of parents are now going up against the school boards because of the new core education. They're taking out a lot of math classes and so forth. And this is exactly what they're doing. They are creating a lower class, which is so dumbed down because they're going to such different school and getting such a different education.
But they already have that.
We used to have, at least here in the States, more or less 3 classes. We had the lower class, the middle class, and the upper class. And then, of course, the upper class, as we've mentioned before, these are the people, in my opinion, that can send their kids to, $50,000, $60,000 a year private schools where they get a different education. So now we've got the lower class. They can barely afford to pay their bills. Their kids are going to public school and getting an entirely different education. So they have a good worker class. So anyway, I thought this would be interesting to tell you about. It says the human race will peak in the year 3000 before a decline due to the dependence on technology. I don't know about that aspect of it. So it says that people should become choosier about their sexual partners, causing humanity to divide into subspecies. So anyway, then it's quite a lengthy article about what all the changes are going to be, and I don't know that that's important, but it says this is interesting. The descendants of the genetic upper class will be tall, slim, healthy, attractive, intelligent, and creative.
Like me.
And a far cry from the underclass humans who would have devolved into dim-witted, ugly, squat, goblin-like creatures.
I won't say anything, but I want to.
I know, don't say anything.
Let's kind of come out, hurry up, and go to the next story.
Okay, but anyway, interesting stuff. Okay, now this one, I'm sure you can help give me a little bit more details, because this was, again, a very lengthy article, and I don't want to complicate it for here. But apparently...
Because there's dim-witted people listening?
Well, we don't want to insult people. Oh. Anyway, here
in
we
Finland,
have it.
They're in Finland.
This has already happened, actually. It said on April 10th at 5 p.m. And we want to remember, are we on the eve of Passover, or is Passover?
It's coming.
Passover is coming again. Passover, Easter, all this stuff is coming out at kind of the same time.
I think it's this week.
It says that the Jews will gather in a rabbinical institution plaza in a neighborhood in Jerusalem and start learning the Jewish laws of Passover. They are talking about preparing the establishment for the third temple.
Yeah, Netanyahu wants that done.
They will teach the audience the laws, get this one, of the Passover sacrifice, ritual slaughter.
Ooh.
Now, who better to do this than the Jews, because this is supposedly what Passover is about, right?
Oh, that kills me.
So, anyway, they're going to do a simulation of the Passover sacrifice. Now, originally it was supposed... That's what I was going to say. Originally it was supposed to be the firstborn son, and they changed that to the blood of the lambs. Am I correct?
I love lamb.
So, anyway, the ceremony will, on Thursday, which will be a practice with live fire, slaughtering lambs, sprinkling their blood on the altar by priests. Ooh. Now, remember, in the Jewish religion, they talk about rabbis, not priests. So tell us why priests are so significant at this point.
Well, because that was the ancient term for, see, a rabbi was just a teacher.
Okay.
But a priest was the one who officiated in the ancient temple.
Okay, now this one is going to actually be, it says, by priests dressed in kosher priestly garments.
They're kosher garments?
That's apparently, and roasting the lambs with their heads, legs, and innards, just as God intended.
I'll just take the chop, okay?
Anyway, it's going to be done by, anyway, as I said, it's a lengthy article, but it's very interesting to me, and it was talking about they're going to teach them how to light the holy menorah, how to sanctify hands and feet, and of course it says how to sacrifice. The priests themselves come with requests to learn one topic or another, and we are learning as we go how the course should look, because the students are very practical and focused. So they're going to start with stuffed doves, I guess that means they're dead, so that they can learn the specific moves. And they're going to work on standing in front of the altar so that they can do the motions and people can actually see them, so it will become natural to them. And they want to be able to follow the completion of quite a few steps. So it's a very advanced priest course, it says. So anyway, it goes on and talks about establishing the third temple, which you have talked about quite a bit.
Yes, that's part of the global ritual.
Yes, and they go on into the article to say that eventually this is where these sacrifices will take place, will be on the Temple Mount, even though right now the Jews are not allowed to go there and worship.
Well, they are. They go
but
to
not without
the
permission.
Western Wall.
My understanding. And they said, we're not going to do it by force. We're not going to take it over by force.
They'll just have the earthquake underneath, knock it down.
I don't know. But anyway, I thought on the heels of Passover that was pretty fascinating that that's coming out again.
Well, and plus remember, this Easter is Hitler's birthday as well.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of things coming up at the same time. We have those blood moons, Passover, Hitler's birthday, Easter,
Good Friday.
Everything coming at the
and
same
I
time.
hope that you have read my article on, I'm trying to remember if I have it on this book or not, the Easter charade. To check my table of comfort.
Yes, that's why I used to sing to my little children years ago.
Oh, yes.
In your Easter vomit.
Yeah, in this one I have a really good article called Crucifixion Programming and More. And it explains to you part of what's going on with the whole Easter story. And we lay that out in hyperspace oversoul terms. So it's a fascinating article here in this book.
Okay, get that book and read it before. And it's going to be, I hope it'll be a movie someday.
Of course, why not? You deserve that, don't you?
Yeah, I think so.
After all you've gone through?
Yes, but yeah, are you done?
Maybe.
Well, I need
Did you
to
say
know.
done or dumb, just so I know?
Both.
Oh, dumb can be just quiet, you know. That was the old
Well,
thing with dumb.
I have a question.
What?
How come there was no poop story?
We told it in the beginning. You were going to see if we can feed you colored food and get you to have some rainbow poop to show next time. That's for sure they'll turn in. You'll have a little plate full of your rainbow poop.
We can sell it on the site. Yeah. But some of you may be thinking, I wonder what Stewart's wearing on his shirt. Well, you will see it is a badge that I received from TripAdvisor because I am now considered to be a top contributor.
I wonder why, though you're
because I hardly go anywhere.
researching around the world.
Yeah, and guess what?
What?
They told me I have, how many readers?
I thought they said 78,000 readers.
I thought it was over 40,000, but it could be 78,000.
Maybe it's either 78 or 48.
I know it was over 40,000.
Yeah, I thought 70,000.
Yeah.
78,000.
And so I have a lot of readers on TripAdvisor.
Yeah.
And they want me to wear this everywhere I go.
So what if people
to intimidate people when I go to restaurants.
People want to read your specific reviews. How do they look you up?
You have to go to tripadvisor.com and just
what?
put my name in search engine.
But does it say your full name?
I think so.
Okay, and see what happens.
Yeah, it says Stewart Swerdlow, top contributor.
Cool.
Top advisor. We don't know what to do. He's so amazing.
Do they mean top advise like you're at the top here, or like this kind of top, you advise people on their tops?
Both.
Is that what it is?
And sometimes
Without
the
the tops?
top.
I knew you were going to say that. Okay, so we want to remind people that you have like only a few days left to sign up for our spring conference. We have about 2 seats left, and then it is closed.
And I'm sitting on one of them.
And it's closed. Clothed or closed?
Both.
It's closed.
It's clothing optional.
And like I said, the last 2 seats are sold, we're done. And then you go to Japan.
Like right away after that.
So if you want to go to Japan, the seminar, the lecture, the tour will all be in English. It will be translated into Japanese. So if you have always wanted to see Japan, or if you've always wanted to visit the tomb of Jesus' grandson, you'll want to go. And then we have New York coming up. We're still working on those details, but do watch the site for those details.
That'll be in June.
That will be in June, the first weekend, I believe, or the second.
I believe it's the 6th. It starts on the 6th.
6th, the 7th, and 8th, I think you'll be there. So watch the website for details. We do have on the site a place for you to sign up on our mailing list. Now, be sure you've got your name on that list. We have a few days with Stewart still available. We have a couple weeks, actually, if you want a personal retreat to go into depth about the information that we teach and share. We have personal weeks, and of course, we already have people signing up for January 2015.
Oh, that's right, we do.
For that week, and if you need a payment plan, Patricia will help you with that.
Yeah.
We have seminars that are going to be coming up in August, and
summer intensive.
Summer intensive, and then
October conference.
Yes, so watch for those to be announced shortly on the website as well. That's happening.
And I'm still waiting for the details on the UK and Poland.
Do we know when? Maybe September?
September, I think.
Yeah, so that's a possibility. We're putting things
unless
together.
there's an alien invasion, and
they might just take you right along with them if that's the case.
I might be leading the invasion.
It's a possibility.
Yeah.
We all know your genetics are not normal.
No.
You're not a normal person.
No, but I'm a top advisor.
Well, I think they gave you the badge to kind of keep you quiet and happy and kind of the alien part of you under control a little bit.
Maybe they want me to review alien restaurants.
That's a possibility. On other planets, think how many readers you would have if the whole universe was reading your...
A Klingon restaurant.
You would have like over
Romulan
a
restaurant.
million people reading.
Billions and hundreds of billions.
Not people, billions of maybe even intelligent beings.
Well, as long as it's not on Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there have got to be a few intelligent beings. I mean, the intelligent ones have obviously signed...
Well, I mean, I'm here.
And the intelligent ones have obviously signed up for our membership.
Yeah.
If you're intelligent, you're on the membership side.
That's the truth.
Those are where the smart people are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you done?
Done or dumb? Must be my ear today. Which one is it?
Pick an ending.
An
It
ending?
doesn't matter of the word.
Which
Or
word?
the-
In the beginning there
or
was one
spell
word.
it whatever. It's a D and add the other ending.
An N or an M or a
For
B?
done or dumb.
I'm not sure.
Anyway, honestly, you need.
You're going to be honest for a change?
You need to take.
So in other words,
Please, if any of you out there-
the rumors on the internet are true. You're finally admitting it. Oh, thank God.
What?
Well, you're saying now you're finally going to be honest with them.
Well, I hope that you will get your medication after we're through here.
You need to take some more.
I do, actually. Anyway, people, sorry for all that, whatever that was.
You should apologize for yourself, but it's all right. I'll talk to you about it later.
So now you know why I
You'll
drink.
get well better.
Now you know why I drink. So,
Well, drink water.
we'll see you next time. This is Stewart A. Swerdlow
And Janet Swerdlow.
for expansions.com. Goodbye.
Bye.